Drake Maye. The time is upon us. And I know some of you are watching the Cam Show live here on the Cam Show YouTube, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network, because you want to hear about Drake Maye or my large nuts. Either one. The word has been going around quite a bit about both of those things. But yes, we've talked about it for weeks, months even, and the time is now upon us. The Drake Maye era has officially begun in New England. He will take the field as the starting quarterback for the Patriots against the Houston Texans this Sunday. Zach Burke's Houston Texans, my producer's Houston Texans on Sunday. And it's about damn time for a lot of us. Now, for those of you who followed the show, I was okay with kind of this slow rollout here. In fact, I think this is perfect timing. Like we've done the Brissett thing. 1-4. You just lost the most winnable game on your schedule on Sunday. Like now it's time. The kid's been taking somewhere between 30 to 50% of the reps, depending on what reporter you trust the most, as a backup quarterback for the last couple of weeks and months here. He looked good in the preseason. Well, but you only face vanilla defenses in the preseason. But it's like at some point, it's got to happen. There's only so much the kid can learn in the film room and in practice. He's going to get better, hopefully, as this goes along. In fact, I don't expect this to be a dazzling performance on Sunday because he's still playing behind the league's worst offensive line and still throwing to the league's worst receiving core. So don't expect just magic from moment one. But what it is progress. It's hope. It's something for the future for this franchise, which looks pretty damn hapless right now and has for a couple of years. So obviously the argument at the beginning to not use him was the offensive line. It is the worst offensive line in the league. Their quarterbacks get hit more than anyone in the league. And Jacoby Brissett actually did a fairly okay job at avoiding hits and keeping plays alive and not turning into complete disasters. He's not a terrific athlete at quarterback. Drake Maye is, so maybe that does change some things. He can get out of the pocket a little bit, make some plays happen, make some things happen out of nothing. He will give you a different element than Jacoby Brissett in terms of effectiveness. I think that he might give you the same kind of production as Brissett the first couple of weeks anyway. But obviously, this is your franchise quarterback for the future, hopefully for the next 10 or 12 years. And you've got to see what he's got. You know, I know there's a lot of people that said he should have started week one the same way Mac Jones did. And it seemed like before Mac Jones started, he had all the answers to the test. You know, everyone was saying how great a command he had of the playbook, of the huddle, how calm he was, and just kind of all these intangibles. Oh, he doesn't have any arm strength, and he can't move around really well, and he gets rushed pretty quickly. Like, you know, he gets happy feet, but all the other intangible stuff is great. And, oh, he practices like Brady and whatever other bullshit we heard about Mac Jones. With Drake Maye, you know that there's real talent there, real talent to the point where he was picked third overall, even with being a raw prospect at quarterback. And he's got some of that between the ears stuff. We all saw the Hard Knocks clip and how Jaden Daniels sounded and how Drake Maye sounded. Jaden Daniels looks like one of the best quarterbacks in football right now. It's time for Drake Maye to get out there as well. I did want to go over an article written today because I think for the most part, it's pretty positive about Drake Maye starting. And specifically with the fans, like, hell yes, it's about time. Let's go. But I saw this one from Boston.com, which is from the Globe, by Connor Ryan, who is a writer I actually really like and respect. He does a lot of on the Bruins beat. And so I follow his Bruins stuff a lot. And he wrote about Drake Maye and the Patriots this week. Three reasons why starting Drake Maye versus the Texans is a bad move by the Patriots. Okay, let's hear him out here. First, a brutal matchup against the Texans. It was all but inevitable the Patriots were going to turn to him at some point, but the timing here is confusing, especially with the Patriots afforded a prime opportunity to start Maye in week 5 against a dreadful Dolphins team. But even with the expecting growing pains that'll come with his first season, a debut against a broken Dolphins offense would at least have given New England's rookie some margin of error to work with. I understand that point. Do I agree with it? No. I said it last week. I said, all right, let's do this Jacoby Brissett thing one more time with Miami because it is the most winnable game on your schedule and because there is some veteran attributes to Jacoby Brissett and because he has led your team to a win this year. Was it kind of fluky? Absolutely. But he got you there. And so, and I say that to say, if Drake Maye did go out there against the Dolphins and it was the same result, there's no doubt Patriots fans would have been pissed and saying, well, if you had the veteran guy out there, you would have won this game, and this would have been an actually key win for you guys. You faced a bad team, and you put out the most unproven commodity that you have. That would have been happening if the Patriots had lost by the same score and Drake Maye had thrown a couple picks or he didn't have an illustrious game in his debut as the starter. So I was okay with, hey, let's roll this out one more time. Let's try and just pull a fast one, get a divisional win. And it didn't work. So now you go to Drake Maye. So I personally don't agree with this part of it. I think you go with house money against the Texans. You're not supposed to beat the Texans, even though it's at home. Houston's a much better team than you are. Most teams are better than you are. Most teams in this league. So you roll in there with house money. You just say, hey, kid, let's let it rip. Let's do the right habits here. And hopefully that will build up his confidence. Because that's the other thing. His confidence is not going to be built up by this team. And that's part of Connor Ryan's next point. So maybe I'll just keep that on the shelf for now. But it's not going to get much better with Drake Maye at quarterback in terms of the wins and the losses. What you will see is hopefully some progress through it all. But Connor does bring out the stats. Here's the stat line of 5 quarterbacks who have matched up against the Texans so far this season. Anthony Richardson, basically a rookie, 9 for 19, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Caleb Williams, 23 for 37, only 174, 2 picks, sacked 7 times. Trevor Lawrence, 18 for 33 for only 169 and a couple touchdowns. Sam Darnold, 17 for 28, but only for 181. 4 touchdowns, 4 sacks. And Josh Allen, most recently, that debacle, 9 for 30 for 131 yards and just 1 touchdown. So obviously, this is a very good Texans defense. We knew that. But again, it's like if we just keep playing this game, we're gonna play it week after week after week because most teams are better than the Patriots. He also goes with the poor supporting cast, talking about the offensive line and talking about the receivers. He takes a quote from ESPN's Mike Reese. In their 1-4 start, the Patriots offensive line has produced a pass block win rate of 41.6%, last in the NFL. In-game statisticians recorded 49 hits against Brissett, although some of those came with Brissett holding on to the football too long or receivers struggling to get open. And since ESPN began tracking quarterback pressures in 2009, only the 2022 Bears, at 47.3%, have allowed a higher pressure rate through 5 games of a season than this year's Patriots, which is 1 percentage point behind. So, we know that the offensive line sucks. And to my point that I keep coming back to, it's not going to get any better. In fact, by the PFF numbers, Vidarian Lowe had a good game. Eyeball test. I don't think anybody had a good game for the Patriots offensive line this past week against Miami. But you're as healthy as you can be right now. David Andrews is not coming back. Sidy So is there. Vidarian Lowe is there. You've kind of got what you got. And so if your point is that you can't put him behind this offensive line, then he's not playing this season. And I don't think there's anybody around the Patriots that wants to say, yeah, that's okay. He just won't play this season. That's torture. That's stupid. That's completely brain dead. So that's not getting any better. Your wide receivers, they're not getting any better. In fact, this is as good as it gets with the fact that Kendrick Bourne is back on the roster and back active. And because of that, Tyquan Thornton will almost certainly be cut if you can't get anything for him in a trade, which I doubt that you will be able to. So like those things are not getting better. You're putting Drake Maye out there to see if he can work around that. He is going to take hits, and it stinks that this offensive line is just this bad. But again, you tried it for 5 weeks. It didn't get any better. In fact, you got worse in terms of injuries. And this is what you've got. The bonus is, while your wide receivers aren't good, you've gotten Pop Douglas more involved the last few weeks. A quick slot receiver who can get open in a phone booth. Like you get him some rhythm and get him some looks. That's going to be a guy who can help out Drake Maye tremendously. Hunter Henry has been arguably your best pass catcher of the year, which is mostly bad, but good in that you have a tight end that can get open for a young quarterback. And the way this Patriots offense would try to utilize that. And Jalen Polk has been getting some separation. And now you've got a guy who can get the ball down there in a hiccup. So your situation in terms of personnel is not getting any better. The only thing that you could really change was the quarterback, which you've gone and done. And the final point that Connor Ryan makes is it's an abrupt shift from whatever plan the Patriots had in place. The way I look at this, we don't know what the plan was, right? Because all they said was basically we'll play Drake when he's ready, when we feel he's ready to play. And through 5 weeks, that's a good sample size in practice. You had nothing at quarterback. You had nothing on offense anyway. So if they're saying, hey, we're going to put him out there against the Houston Texans, one of the best defenses in the league, then he's probably ready. So that to me, it's like, what is the plan? Gerard Mayo already said that Drake Maye outplayed the veteran Brissett in the preseason and in training camp. So what is the plan? So you say it's an abrupt shift from the plan. What is the plan? Nobody knows what the plan is. The plan, in a vague sense, was to play Drake Maye at some point. You've got to. He's the number 3 pick in the draft. And now you're playing him. I think this was a good wait period for the Patriots. 5 weeks. You're a third of the way through the season. He's had some game action. He got in the end of that game against the Jets. And you were going to need to start him at some point. Your offensive line's not getting any better. Your personnel in the receiving room is not getting any better. Your defense is actually getting worse. So it's kind of like, then what do you want to wait for, Connor? He doesn't provide a week that he would have rather seen him play. Because he just says, but now against this Texans team is when the Patriots believe Maye is ready to take over. There's no way that was part of any plan. Not at this stage of the season. I don't know. How do you know? Patriots knew they weren't a good team coming into the season, and they knew they were going to have to play Drake Maye. It's not a shock to anybody that they're 1-4 at this point in the season, and now Drake Maye is starting. But now that's not a good enough time. When is the time? When do you start him? Is week 8 going to be better? Are they going to magically have an NFL receiver by week 8 or week 9? Are they magically going to have the 28th best offensive line in 3 weeks? No. So this to me is like, this feels like the perfect time almost. You're playing with house money. If you win more than 2 or 3 games, that's a successful season with this roster and this coaching staff. But you're not going to burn a year of this kid's rookie contract just because you suck. You already sucked. You know what I mean? You won 4 games last year. Everyone in the league knew you were going to suck. You knew you were going to suck. So why wait an extra couple weeks? That's what I don't get. And then you got a weird one next week in London, right? That's one of those London morning games. Zach, you want to provide any analysis on this Texans defense, on what they're going to do to my pal Drake Maye, Jacoby Brissett?
Well, I can tell you that they have found ways to win, but win ugly. But the defense has been really good at getting pressure, and with the Pats' offensive line in the shape that it's in,
it's not good, right?
No, it's not
good. But it wasn't going to be any better.
No.
With Jacoby Brissett, at least you have some elusiveness there with Drake Maye. By the way, speaking of the Texans, CJ Stroud said that Drake Maye was the most NFL ready of the top 3 quarterbacks taken. I think he was the only one to have that opinion, but he did say that. He did say that.
Also,
and when I watched Jaden Daniels, I'm like, that guy's not NFL ready. Come on.
Well, he also apparently released talks weekly with Jaden Daniels too. CJ seems to be the shepherd of these young QBs.
It's this new generation. He's the leader.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to be Bryce Young. I was trying to say Bryce Young and wrong in the same words. So that makes a ton of sense. You were wrong about that, although I'm not ready to give up on Bryce Young.
I am very thankful for the Panthers in this situation because the Texans would have taken Bryce Young if they had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, they would have. Did that come down to like the last week or two of the season? Like the Texans
it was
won
a win
game.
Over it was a late win over the who was it? Was it the Titans? Was it the Colts? It was a division.
Because I have a lot of Houston.
I think it was the Colts, maybe.
I have a lot of Houston fans in my timeline on Twitter, and it was the year of the tank, and they just missed out on number 1 for Bryce Young.
Yeah,
and they missed out on the Wemby sweepstakes.
Yeah,
and so I was seeing like tankathons the whole time.
But then, give it a year and they're all thanking Lovie Smith for winning that one game to get CJ Stroud. So
unbelievable how these things work. We could be saying that about the Patriots. They kicked a game-winning field goal against Denver. They beat Pittsburgh Denver really needed to win. They beat Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh really needed to win. They had a game-winning drive against Buffalo last year. That's going to rear its ugly head. Potentially. I wanted Jaden Daniels. I'm on record from that since right after the draft, really, and before the draft on the Mosley show. I'm okay with Drake Maye. I think that's fine. I really like Jaden Daniels measurables coming out of college. You know me, quarterback scout, Cam. But I'm excited for this Drake Maye era to begin. And I find it so funny that it was basically a unison of fans and most media members being like, can the Drake Maye thing be any worse than what we're seeing on the field right now? And now it's like, oh, this isn't the time. We've been begging for you for months to start Drake Maye, but not this way. This isn't the way we want it. Again, I just don't know. We're not in the Brady era anymore. Like, to be quite honest with you, it's the second week in October, and these games no longer matter. You're punting the season anyway. What you don't want to punt is the first season of Drake Maye's career. A quarterback on a rookie contract, starting quarterback on a rookie contract, is the most valuable thing in the National Football League. You don't just burn it because you failed to build a team around him for 3 years. That's why you were picking number 3. Like, that's what you're doing this for. And it's not every year that a team picks a quarterback at the top of the draft and actually has a respectable team around them the way that Caleb Williams does with the Bears. And look how that's turned out. He's been okay. Not great. More likely, you get a situation like Jaden Daniels, who has an okay team around him, not as good as the Bears, and he's lighting it up. And a similar situation with the Panthers with Bryce Young, but he sucks. It comes down to the quarterback and whoever's coaching that quarterback at the end of the day. Like, you're not going to pick a quarterback in the top 3 and expect to just have this great situation for him to walk into. And yeah, the Patriots might be the worst team in the whole NFL. But it's to that point, it doesn't really matter who you're going up against. Miami, bad team, terrible offense, have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. They can rush the passer, though. So was that a better alternative to putting him out there? He's going to get hit either way. They're that bad. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. It finally gives us something to watch for. Because, my God, I have been watching Baylor and the Patriots back-to-back days this whole season. Oh, if I keep doing it, I might get cancer. If I keep having to watch that shit over and over and over again. And I have to watch every snap. I do post-game shows for both. I got to take notes. I got to watch every snap. Oh, I got to provide some hope. You know how tough that is, Zach? Well, you're a Texans fan. Most years you do understand.
I totally get it.
Oh, but Jacob Maye, he is back.
We are Rogue Media Sports.